A long time ago, in ancient Japan, a boy named Kai, who was supposedly raised by demons, fled the forest and was found by Lord Asano. The man decided to adopt him, seeing great potential in the boy, and allowed him to live among the samurai, despite it being a great taboo. Kai grew close to the Lord's daughter, Mika, and eventually, they began to love each other, but they showed their affections in secret. Soon, the boy grew into a very capable man who accompanied his lord on hunting expeditions. He advised the Lord's right-hand man, Oishi, to stay and trap the prey, as he noticed something was wrong with the creature, but the samurai refused to listen to someone of such low status and ordered the men to advance. Suddenly, a giant beast charged toward the people, knocking the Lord to the ground. Oishi saw this and ordered everyone to kill the monster immediately. The creature went into a rage, destroying everything in sight while the scouts pursued it closely. The men attacked the creature with arrows and tried to surround it, but nothing seemed to work as the monster began tossing the samurai like ragdolls, throwing them off their horses. After causing massive damage to the group, the creature tried to escape by running into the forest, but a samurai named Yasuno pursued it, with Kai following closely behind. The samurai attempted to attack the monster with his sword but was thrown off his horse in the process. The giant creature turned to see the soldier on the ground and charged at him furiously. Kai saw this and ran toward the sword. He grabbed the blade and stabbed the monster's heart, using the creature's momentum, eventually killing it as the monster fell to the ground. Kai pulled the blade out of the creature and offered it back to the samurai, but Yasuno was offended by the act, having been saved by a half-breed with no status. Lord Asano arrived and saw the defeated creature. Thinking the samurai had killed the beast, he honored Yasuno as his champion in the upcoming tournament, celebrating in the name of the country, believing fortune was on their side. As the men began to depart, Oishi noticed Kai's hands covered in blood, suggesting he was the true slayer of the beast. Kai also noticed something strange upon seeing a white fox with differently colored eyes, speculating that the attack might have been orchestrated by a higher power. It turned out Kai's speculations were correct, as the fox transformed back into a witch named Mizuki, who informed her lord, Kira, that Asano was still alive. Meanwhile, Lady Mika had grown into a beautiful woman. She quickly went to meet the returning group after hearing about injuries in the hunting expedition. After seeing her father was safe, the woman quickly inquired about the injured men, but Asano knew his daughter only cared about Kai's well-being. The woman hurried to the isolated house where Kai lived and saw that the man she loved was injured from the fight. She tried to help Kai with his wounds, but the man thanked her and quickly told her to return to her father, as she could not be seen with someone of such low status. That night, the shogun arrived in the province of Ako for the upcoming festival. Kai observed from a distance and noticed Mizuki among Lord Kira's concubines, recognizing the color of her eyes, matching the fox he saw earlier. He immediately went to Oishi's residence and warned the samurai about the witch who could endanger the lord's life, but the samurai ignored Kai's warnings as before, not respecting the opinions of someone raised by demons. The next day, Lord Kira arrived in the kingdom and greeted Asano, praising the beauty of the province, but their relationship quickly became tense when the man disrespected the lord by showing rude behavior, starting to flirt with Lady Mika. They sat together and began watching the tournament as Kira introduced his champion for the fight. The enormous warrior golem began walking toward the stadium, towering over everyone as the audience marveled at the fighter's impressive size. Meanwhile, Yasuno saw the witch in her animal form and fell victim to her magic. Kai ran towards the samurai and realized the man could no longer compete. To save his lord from disgrace, Kai donned the samurai armor and covered his face to replace Yasuno in the tournament. After the two fighters bowed before the lords, they drew their swords and prepared for combat. The giant samurai began attacking Kai with a fury of blows, pushing him back with incredible force. They continued to fight, and Kai managed to land several strikes on the opponent, but eventually, his katana broke against the giant's armor, and he was knocked out of the ring, losing his helmet in the process and revealing his true identity. Shogun interrupts the fight and walks toward the ring, only to see that Kai is a half-breed who is clearly not a samurai. He immediately orders the man to be killed, but Mika rushes to protect her beloved while Lord Asano begs the shogun to spare Kai's life. The ruler walks away furiously, and the samurai of Ako are forced to strip Kai of his armor and begin to beat him continuously for shaming their lord until the man passes out. Realizing that Asano is mentally disturbed by the humiliations, Mizuki conjures a spider using Kira's blood. She secretly goes to the old lord's chamber at night and poisons him with the creature's venom, causing the lord to hallucinate and see his daughter being dishonored by Kira. Lord Asano storms into his rival's room and cuts him with a sword, but the guards quickly enter and prevent him from killing Lord Kira. As a result of attacking a guest within his own palace, the shogun sentences Asano to death but allows him to retain his honor by committing seppuku. While the lord's daughter tearfully watches the ceremony, his loyal samurai finishes off his lord, honoring him in death. After Asano's death, the shogun announces that Mika will marry Kira to appease the conflicts between the two houses but grants her a year to mourn her father's death. The ruler also forbids Oishi and his men from avenging Kira, telling them they are now ronin without masters, leaving their fate in the lord's hands. Kira immediately expels the samurai from the province of Ako and takes Kai as a hostage and slave, while Mika watches in despair. He then imprisons Oishi, throwing him into the cells to try and break his will for revenge. A year later, Kira's men remove the samurai from the underground prison and throw him into the streets, where his wife and son immediately take him in. He discovers that everyone has left the province and that Kai was sold as a slave. Oishi promptly tells his son to prepare the horses, and they ride day and night until they reach the Dutch islands. He enters the fighting arena and sees that Kai is battling a monstrous opponent trying to kill him with every blow. However, Kai quickly gains the upper hand, slashing the monster's belly before decapitating the creature and winning the fight. Oishi tries to talk to Kai but is immediately attacked, as Kai blames him for Asano's death. The fight continues until Oishi mentions that Lady Mika is being held against her will, and the two begin to fight the slave masters, eventually managing to escape the area together, causing a fire in the streets to delay their pursuers. By morning, already distanced from the previous place, Oishi explains to Kai that Lady Mika will be forced to marry Kira in a week, and he plans to unite all the ronin to save the girl and avenge their lord's death. They ride to a secret location where all their former comrades have gathered, and he explains that he plans to assassinate their lord's killer when Kira leaves the castle to receive blessings from his ancestors for the impending wedding. He tells one of the samurai to find out the exact date Kira plans to leave to properly organize the assassination mission, while he goes with the rest of the men to gather available weapons. They arrive at the nearby town, only to discover it is heavily guarded by Kira's men. At night, Kai tells Oishi there is another way to get weapons for the samurai, but the mission requires them to venture into the forest of demons known as Tengu. With no other choice, the ronin ride to the Tengu forest, and Kai leads them before a huge statue of Buddha. He tells everyone to wait outside, except for Oishi, who accompanies him to meet the demons. They enter the cave, and Kai tells the samurai that he must not unsheath his sword, no matter what happens inside. The two see numerous monks kneeling before the Buddha statue, and Kai tells Oishi to wait for him there. Kai reaches a smaller cave where a blade stands at the center of the room, while another demon approaches him, welcoming his return. The creature questions why Kai is helping those men outside when they treated him so poorly before, but Kai responds that they are good men and that their cause is just. The demon continues to demoralize the man, stating that the world offers him nothing and that he will never be with Mika in this life, but Kai accepts this with humility and vows to find her in the next life. Seeing the man's determination, the demon tells him to take the sword if he can, and both fly towards the blade using their magic, but Kai manages to retrieve the katana before his master and wins the battle between the two. At the same time, Oishi turns and sees that his men have entered the temple despite his orders, and Yasuno draws his sword upon seeing the demons on the ground. The creatures begin to attack the samurai and kill them one by one using their magic, which makes them impossible to hit. Oishi sees this and is tempted to draw his sword but remembers what Kai told him before and manages to restrain himself until all the samurai are killed. It turns out it was all an illusion by the Tengu as part of the test they placed on him, and numerous katanas appear, indicating that he has won the battle of will. They leave the forest after taking their new weapons and arrive at the farm where the ronin are hiding. Oishi is informed by one of his samurai that he has discovered Kira will be leaving for the shrines at night, prompting him to gather all his men to assassinate the lord. They slowly approach the area filled with hay and see the silhouette of their target in front of a shrine, guarded only by two men. The figure turns, and the samurai are shocked to see it is the witch, who attacks them with fire and sets the whole area ablaze, trapping them in flames. The men are ambushed by numerous arrows and killed one by one. The giant golem also appears and massacres the ronin as they run for their lives. The group returns to the farm defeated, and Oishi desperately questions what to do next while Kai tries to reassure his comrade, saying that not all is lost and that they still have their weapons and the element of surprise. The next morning, Kai sees a group of wedding performers heading toward Kira's castle and realizes the opportunity before them. They stop the performers and take their costumes, planning to disguise themselves to get close and assassinate the Lord. At night, the samurai manage to avoid detection by Kira's guards and enter the fortress unsuspected. Lord Kira takes Lady Nika and plans to finally carry out the wedding and gain control of AKO in the process. They sit in front of the stage and begin to enjoy the performance while the samurai distract the soldiers. The Ronin take this opportunity to retrieve their weapons and storm the area, ambushing and killing the guards without being detected. Oishi continues to perform on stage, but gradually makes his way toward Lord Kira, grabs a hidden blade, and advances for the attack. His strike is stopped by an arrow from the guards, and people run in panic upon realizing the samurai assassins. The Ronin begin attacking the soldiers, and Kira flees, taking Mika into the castle, escaping the flying arrows. The giant golem charges at the Ronin but is caught off guard by the explosive trap they set, causing the enemy to be blown apart by the explosion. Kai starts pursuing Kira alongside Oishi, cutting down several soldiers trying to stop the two men. Mika manages to escape her captor and runs in the opposite direction, while Kira abandons everything to save his own life. After eliminating the guards, Oishi runs toward the Lord while Kai goes to save the princess. Mika exits the building and enters the courtyard when she finally sees her beloved, and they run to each other and embrace. Their reunion is interrupted when a ghostly kimono flies in front of them through the air and falls to the ground, transforming into the witch who plans to kill them both. The woman approaches the couple and begins to transform again, revealing her true form that resembles a massive dragon levitating in the air. The creature attacks Kai furiously, but the man can defend himself and fight back, causing the monster to temporarily retreat. Kai tells Mika to hide behind the walls as he prepares to fight the dragon to the death. At the same time, Oishi finds Kira in the neighboring room and begins to attack the man through the walls. He enters the room and continues to strike at the enemy, knocking him to the ground while Kira desperately tries to defend himself. Oishi throws Kira down, and they both crash through the walls. He throws the Lord to the ground and continues to kick him in anger, eventually incapacitating him and grabbing him from behind. Oishi takes the blade his lord used for seppuku and stabs Kira in the heart. He then decapitates Kira with a single strike and takes the head outside, showing his comrades that they have won the battle. The soldiers surrender upon seeing Kira's death, and the Ronin look to their leader, realizing they have finally avenged their lord's honor. Meanwhile, Kai continues to fight the dragon, striking its face, causing the monster to hurl concrete pillars at the man in frustration. The creature then unleashes a torrent of flames toward Kai, but the warrior splits the elements with his blade, rendering the dragon's magic useless. Kai begins attacking the monster offensively, continuously cutting it and forcing the creature to retreat to a corner. He tries to stab the dragon, but it grabs the man's katana and throws him into the air, far from the sword. The monster then starts targeting Mika, roaring furiously at her, but Kai manages to use the Tengu magic and grabs the blade from the ground. He quickly jumps into the air and stabs the creature in the head, causing it to fall to the ground and scream in pain. The monster then begins to transform back into Mizuki, who dies after giving her last breath. The Ronin leave the castle as the enemy soldiers kneel before them and drop their weapons in submission. The samurai return to AKO and finally honor their lord in front of his grave, offering the dagger that killed Kira as a tribute. Shogun is notified of Kira's death and sentences all the Ronin to death but allows them to regain their honor by committing seppuku, just like their lord, as they have shown honor by avenging their master by following the path of Bushido. Kai and Mika have a moment alone, and they both express their feelings for each other. Kai, knowing his impending future, promises that in the next life, he will do everything to find his beloved. Their farewell is marked by a single romantic kiss. Mika watches with sadness as Kai and the other men prepare to go through the ritual, crying as she knows she will never see her beloved again in this life. Days later, she looks out from the bridge to the horizon, remembering Kai's promise to find her in the next life and to be together forever.